Welcome to Ask Aqua Alex. This is the fish keeper's question and answer. I, Aqua Alex Cardinale, look forward to answering any and all of your tropical fish keeping questions. I have been keeping fish since I was 12 years old. I have kept both freshwater and saltwater, so I have experience in both. Have fish keeping questions you want answered? Post them in the comments and I'll answer them on the show. Now on to Aqua Alex.
Good evening, tropical fish keepers. Welcome to the April 2023 Fish Keepers Q&A. Welcome to Ask Aqua Alex Live. I'm your host, the one and the only South American fish keeper, Aqua Alex Cardinale. I look forward to answering all of your tropical fish keeping questions tonight. So if you have any fish keeping questions, whether they are freshwater or saltwater, simply post them in the comments and I will answer them. On top of answering your questions, I have some fun topics tonight. I'm going to talk about fish species that are near and dear to my heart, some of my favorite fish species. I'm also going to talk about fish species that can harm humans. And I'm going to talk about life as a fish keeper in Massachusetts versus life as a fish keeper in Florida. And for Aqua Alex Reacts, I am going to address something that's been on my chest for a while in the fish keeping hobby. And then I'm going to show off some amazing fish from my friend Darrell. So I'm excited to host the April 2022 Fish Keeping Q&A in front of my 125-gallon aquarium. I look forward to answering all of your fish keeping questions. Simply post them in the comments. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this Q&A started right now. And we're going to start with my first segment, which is Aqua Alex Asks You. All right, so here are the questions that I'm asking you this month. You can post your answers in the comments. So my first question is this: what is one fish species that has eluded you since you've been in the aquarium hobby? What is your favorite thing about your aquarium or aquariums? And what is your last fish that you purchased? Post your answers in the comments. I'm going to start today's show by answering these questions. So, one fish species that has eluded me since I've been in the aquarium hobby is the black arowana. I have always wanted a black arowana, but for whatever reason, I have yet to purchase a black arowana. I think they're a very cool arowana. They're very similar to the silver arowana, but they're a little bit different. I, for whatever reason, have just never kept them yet, but I'm sure I will in the future. Another fish that has eluded me has been the lungfish, and the lungfish is one of my favorite oddball species. And then I've got the Darrell catfish, which is pretty cool. I've got the tigrinus catfish, which is another awesome fish that has eluded me. So there's a couple of fish that have eluded me over my years in the aquarium hobby: the black arowana, the lungfish, the Darrell catfish, and the tigrinus catfish. Now, for those of you wondering what the word eluded means, it basically means what is a fish you want that you haven't kept yet. Now, what are the favorite things about my aquariums? Because I have 3 aquariums. I've got my 125-gallon monster aquarium behind me Then I've got a 55-gallon fancy goldfish aquarium. And then I've got a 75-gallon grow out tank. The thing that I like about all my aquariums is that I can stock it with any fish that I like. And I haven't had a single issue with my aquariums, whether it's ick outbreak or other disease outbreaks. I don't have a problem because I'm constantly monitoring my aquariums. I'm watching the fish each and every day, and I get to feed them what I like, which is cool. But most importantly, my favorite thing about my aquariums is watching my fish grow and watching them be happy. And what is the last fish that I purchased? Well, I've been unemployed, so I haven't had money for a while. But the last two fish I purchased were my red belly pacu in the 125 behind me, and a juvenile black pacu that I am now growing up. So now it's your turn. Post your answers in the comments and post any questions you have that you want me to answer in the comments below, and I will answer them. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions that were emailed to me earlier this month. The first question comes from Charlie, and Charlie has a good question. Charlie says, what is your advice to someone who wants to transition from freshwater to saltwater? Very good question, and I'm sure this is going to be a question that comes up a lot in the future. Here's the first thing to know. If you want to transition from freshwater to saltwater, know that saltwater is pretty much basically the same as freshwater with a few important exceptions. First, saltwater, you have to do a lot more water testing. You have to consistently test for salinity and all the water parameters and things. And it's a little bit more expensive than freshwater because you have to buy the salt mixes, and the saltwater fish are not as hardy as freshwater fish. Most saltwater fish that come into the aquarium hobby are wild caught, and there's going to be high mortality rates, so the fish stores are going to charge you a lot of money. But if you've been keeping freshwater aquariums for a while, you already know about the aquarium cycle. You already know how to test for pH, ammonia, nitrate, and all that stuff. So that's going to be huge help for you. But you're going to have to learn how to mix salt and water together to form the proper salinity. And you're going to have to research a lot because there's a lot of things you have to learn for saltwater aquariums. For example, there are 3 different saltwater aquarium types. There's a fish-only saltwater aquarium where all you have is saltwater fish and maybe sand as a substrate. There's a fish-only with live rock aquarium, which is basically fish only with the sand as substrate and live rock. And then there is a reef aquarium, which has the addition of corals and inverts in your aquarium. Now, if you're transitioning from freshwater to saltwater and you haven't had saltwater before, I would definitely recommend going fish only or fish only with live rock as a beginning point because reef aquariums are difficult. I would never recommend a beginner to go with a reef aquarium. So I would say to someone that wants to transition from freshwater to saltwater, start researching. Start watching videos on YouTube of how to set up a saltwater aquarium. Start learning all about the different types of saltwater fish and all that. But know that you're going to need to get a lot of salt mixes, monthly or weekly, depending on how much you buy. And you're going to need to get a hydrometer, and you're going to need to get a good filtration system. Now, in freshwater, basic hang on the back filters are good enough for freshwater. But in saltwater, you might want to invest in a sump. Saltwater aquariums are very beneficial with the sump, but you could get away with hang on the back filter or a canister filter, but it's just a lot of work. And obviously, if you're getting into saltwater from freshwater, same thing applies. The largest aquarium, the better. Smaller aquariums in saltwater are a little bit harder to maintain for a new fish keeper getting into saltwater. So I obviously recommend 55 gallons and larger. And I can't stress it enough. Have a lot of funds. Have a lot of money from going from freshwater to saltwater. Be prepared to lose a lot of money in saltwater because salt mixes are really expensive now. The saltwater fish is really expensive, but it is worth it after all. I enjoyed my saltwater aquariums when I had saltwater fish. I love the foxface. I love the clownfish. I love the puffers. Saltwater aquariums are very rewarding and they are awesome. It's like having a piece of the ocean in your own home, and it's very, very awesome and exciting. So hopefully, Charlie, I answered your question to your liking. The next question comes from Justin. And Justin has another good question. I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to answer this one. Justin says, what advice would you give to someone who is contemplating opening a fish store? I have never even thought about opening a fish store, but I would love to open a fish store one day. I think one of the first things I would say is study your area. Study the area where you live. See what is the most popular side of the aquarium hobby where you live. See if freshwater is a hit. See if saltwater is a hit. See what in freshwater is a hit. For example, are community fish a hit? Are planet aquariums a hit? Are monster fish a hit? Or are goldfish a hit? See if reef aquariums are a hit, or if ordinary fish only with live rock aquariums are a hit. That would be the number one thing I would say to start. See what is working in your area first. Then I would say go to a local fish store that's been around for a while and is quite successful. See what they're doing that works for them. I'm not saying copy them, but get some ideas from them. That will help you in the long run. That is what I've been doing with my podcast and my YouTube channel and all my videos. I go to successful channels, I see what they're doing, and I put it in my unique own way. And I recommend that for owning a business as well. The next thing I would say is get to know your market. Know who is a reputable breeder because they're going to provide you some excellent fish. Know who is a great wholesaler that imports both wild caught and tank raised fish. Find a South American importer so you can get wild caught fish from South America. And also consider in your fish store, are you going to accept trade-ins? Because 9 times out of 10, people are going to come in with huge pacus, huge Oscars, red-tailed cats, plecos, etc. And it may be a good thing or a bad thing. For me, it would be a good thing because you can create a monster display aquarium with those red-bellied pacus and red-tailed cats and Oscars. Or are you going to be a fish store that does not promote monster fish? You have to decide that as well. So pick your niche. Maybe you can be a general fish store that has a bit of everything. Those fish stores tend to do a lot better than the ones that specialize in monsters or just saltwater. I had a friend that lived in Massachusetts, and he opened up an only saltwater store. And I said to him, I don't think that's going to be very successful because there's a lot of freshwater keepers here. And he said, I don't know, we'll see. But he ended up proving me wrong because saltwater ended up being huge in Massachusetts when I just left. I left in 2019 and saltwater is huge now. But up here in Florida, freshwater is definitely the big, big hit. So hopefully I answered your question to the best of my ability or to your liking anyway. And this last email that I got comes from Paul. And Paul wants to know, what is one of your most valuable fish keeping lessons that you want to share? Huh. I have to think long and hard about that. I've had plenty of successes, but also I've had plenty of failures in the aquarium hobby. I think I'll tell you the 2016 horror story, and then I'll tell you about my winter story. So the 2016 horror story was actually my fault because I was very impatient, especially with a saltwater aquarium. I lost thousands of dollars. I was cycling my 120-gallon saltwater aquarium, and I was 2 weeks into the cycle, and I went to one of my local fish stores, and I spent about six, seven, $800 on some fish species. Remember, saltwater is expensive. And then I went to another fish store and spent another couple of hundred. So it rounded out to a little bit more than 1,000. And I added all those fish into the 120-gallon saltwater aquarium that was only 2 weeks into cycling. And when you add so many fish to a tank that is not fully cycled, you're adding a lot of bioload. And what ended up happening, a lot of my fish got ick, and then it led to velvet, and they all ended up dying. So that was a lesson that I learned very, very hard. Do not add a lot of fish to an immature aquarium. So obviously I learned from that lesson, and now when I have saltwater aquariums, I only add one or two fish at a time, wait a few weeks, and add a few more. So that's a very important lesson that I think you should take away from this show with freshwater as well. Never rush adding fish to aquariums because if it's not properly cycled, they could die. Another lesson for your question, another valuable fish keeping lesson is to be prepared for Mother Nature. When I lived in Massachusetts, we used to have bad winter snowstorms and we would lose power. I believe it was 2009, 2010. We had a huge snowstorm with over 20 inches of snow, and we lost power for a week. And I had a big fish room in my basement. I had like 3 or 4 tanks with some cool, unique monster fish. I had fish like datnoids, flagtail procholotus, arowanas, peacock bass, oscars, all different types of mylius, and some other cool fish. But because power was out for a week, there was no filtration, there was no heat, there was no oxygen, all those fish died because of a mistake that I had made. I didn't get a generator. So if you live where there's snowstorms, tornadoes, all different types of Mother Nature acts, I highly recommend a generator. A generator could be the difference between life or death for you and your tropical fish, especially your tropical fish because they cannot live without oxygen. So it's very important to consider that. They need oxygen, and in tropical storms and winter storms, power can go out just like that. So that's why a generator is your best friend. All right, so I would like to thank Charlie, Justin, and Paul for those great questions that were emailed to me earlier this month. Now, if you have tropical fish questions, just post them in the comments and I will gladly answer them. But now we've got a very, very fun topic because right now I'm going to talk about my favorite fish species in both freshwater and saltwater and fish that have personally won my heart over. So here we go. We'll start with freshwater. The first fish that I'm very fond of is a monster catfish that comes from South America. and that is the red-tail catfish. The red-tail catfish grows to an enormous size, enormous proportions. It can get 4 feet in length, but for whatever reason, I really admire and I really love the red-tail catfish. Every time I see some juvenile red-tail cats, I'm in awe at the local fish store. I'm always like, should I get one? Should I get one? Lately, I've been good when I see juvenile red-tail cats. I say, no, I'm not going to get a juvenile red-tail because I know what they grow up to be. But sometimes there's a thought of me of, oh, well, I can grow one out and then get a pond. But I've been very, very good with that. I love red-tail cats, but until I get a pond, I probably won't keep them anymore. My friend Darrell's got a massive one. I also love tiger shovelnose. Tiger shovelnose, like the red-tailed cat, get pretty big, but they stay smaller than the red-tail. Now, unlike the red-tail, when I see tiger shovelnose, I buy them because I love their patterns. I love their personality. They are a very interesting and unique catfish, and I love the tiger shovelnose. I also love the limeless shovelnose cats. The limeless shovelnose are equally good. I also like the four-line pictus catfish. They are very amazing. I love the four-line pims. As a matter of fact, when I was working at Sprouts in West Palm Beach, it was right near a Petco, and that Petco had four-line pictus. And guess what I did? I bought them out of their four-line pictus. That's how much I love the four-line pictus. They're a very cool, unique catfish. Also, I like the Oxydorus niger cat. I like the Megalodorus irwini. Now, this next fish species I love since I was a young boy. I drove my family nuts over this fish, and that is the silver dollar genre or genius. The silver dollar genius, Mentinus and Mylius. I used to go to my buddy's fish store, Ed Picard, at Fish Frenzy, and I used to go in there and say all the time, "Got any silver dollars? Ed, got any silver dollars?" That's how much I love silver dollars. I loved them since I was a teenage boy. I love the Mentinus, I love Mylius, and even Mylosoma. I also love Pacus. Pacus have a special place in my heart. I used to be called Pacu Boy growing up because I used to grow up Pacus all the time. At one point, I was known as Oscar Alex because I love Oscar cichlids. And I've got an Oscar mascot behind me. I love chocolate cichlids because they have temperaments and personalities similar to Oscars, but they're a little more docile. I love silver arowanas and black arowanas. I love severums, clown knifes, clown loaches, and Pteropterus. Those are all the freshwater fish species that are near and dear to my heart. Now, for saltwater, foxface rabbitfish, maroon clownfish, dogface puffer, and Niger triggers are the fish that are near and dear to my heart. All right, so that was our first fish keeping topic. And now I'm going to get back to answering some questions. So I've got some questions from social media that I took from various Facebook groups. I'm going to go ahead and answer them right now. The first group is anything fish related on Facebook. And this question is from Mickey Rose. She got a good question. You get 40 minutes at $8,000 to spend in a tropical fish store. What are you buying? Well, I would buy as large of an aquarium as I could. So ideally, I'd like to get a 300 or a 500-gallon aquarium. I would get filtration for that aquarium. I would get glass canopies for that aquarium. I would get some sand substrate. I'd get some plants and, of course, good lighting. And then I'd get some cool fish. I would get a silver arowana and a black arowana. I would get some freshwater stingrays. I'd get a school of wide bar or thin bar or blackberry silver dollars. I'd get some datnoids, a fire eel, and whatever's left, I would donate to the fish store because they need food for all the fish they sell and stuff like that. Hopefully that answers your question. Now, the next question comes from Jenny Price from Aquarium Keepers. What is the biggest fish you have ever owned? How big was it? And what monsters have you all had? So the biggest fish I've ever owned, I have to think about that. I think it was a red belly pacu. My good friend Charlie Ginn from Massachusetts gave me like a 2.5 foot red belly pacu all the way back in 2012. So 11 years ago, I had a 2.5 foot red belly pacu. But then I've also had Oscars that are 14, 15 inches, like the tiger one behind me. I've had an 18-inch silver arowana. I've had several large plecos. I've had a really large red hook that was about 10 inches. Let's see, what else have I had that was large? I've had large chocolate cichlids, large pikes. I think that's pretty much it that I can remember. I've had large tiger shovelnose, large red-tailed cats, large iridescent sharks. Those are pretty cool. What monsters have you all had? Well, I've had arowanas, peacock bass, pikes, pacu, tinfoil barbs, bala sharks, tiger shovelnose, a whole bunch of monsters. But that was a great question. And finally, Eric Kono from Aquarium Keepers asked, what are some good tank mates for electric blue acaras? So that's a great question. Some good tank mates for electric blue acaras could be waru, chocolate cichlids, severum, and festivums. Those are mild-mannered South American cichlids, and they do well with blue acaras. Cherisons would be silver dollars, mentonus or mylias, or flagtail procholotus, or headstanders. And then you could also do Corydoris, striped Raphael, Pictus cats, four-line Pictus cats, angelfish, pearl gouramis, blue gouramis. Any of those fish are great tank mates for the electric blue acara. All right. Well, it's time for something special for this show. Last week, I was blessed. Someone contacted me asking me to be a guest on my YouTube channel. And they are promoting something that is very near and dear to me. It's getting the youth involved in the aquarium hobby. And you guys know how much I want more younger people in the aquarium hobby. So I met 14-year-old fish keeper Brian Conway. And at 14 years old, Brian wrote this book. The name of the book is Fish Keeping for Kids. And I, Aqua Alex Cardinale, am proud to announce that Aquatic Wetline, Ask Aqua Alex Live, and my other fish keeping shows are going to be proud supporters, and we're going to promote this book because I would like to get more fish keepers involved in the aquarium hobby, more young fish keepers involved in the aquarium hobby. You know, when I was 12 years old and I set up my very first aquarium, I could have used a book like this. I have to say, Brian, you did a really good job. I finished reading your book yesterday, and look at all the great content that's in there. You've got monster fish down to a T. You've got community fish down to a T. You've got the cycle down to a T. So this is a great book for anyone that is younger and wants to get into the aquarium hobby. And also, I got a nice letter here from Brian. So definitely check out this book, Fish Keeping for Kids. Go to the website fishkeepingforkids.com. find out some awesome information about this book. You're going to love it. I love it. You will love it as well. And on my 900th video, my 900th episode, I'm going to interview the author, Brian Conway, who is a 14-year-old fish keeper, and I will have the honor of interviewing him on my 900th video. So that is very exciting. All right, so let's get to our next topic here on Ask Aqua Alex Live, Fish Keepers Q&A, April 2023. And now I'm going to talk about fish keeping in Massachusetts versus fish keeping in Florida. So, fish keeping in Massachusetts. Now, I lived in Massachusetts since I was born up until I was about 28 or 27. So that's a long time. And I'm a homegrown Massachusetts fish keeper. Now, in my experience, fish keeping in Massachusetts was pretty good for a majority of my years because in Massachusetts, you can keep freshwater stingrays, you can keep wolffish, you can keep black and Jardini arowanas, and some fish that are illegal here in Florida, you could keep. So when I was living in Massachusetts, I had the opportunity to keep stingrays and some other illegals like the Jardini arowana. But over time, especially in my later years in Massachusetts, there were limited fish stores. I only had 2 or 3 fish stores that were really good, and none of them carried monster fish as much. I had to order fish online, so that was hard. But the last year, Imperial Aquatics was opened up by a friend of mine, and he specializes in rare fish. Now, one thing I found out in Massachusetts is that some of the fish keepers aren't actually nice people at all. There were some backstabbers in Massachusetts. Some even went as far as accusing me of stuff like selling sick fish and stuff, which is absolutely bonkers if you ask me. But that happens in pretty much every hobby. Now, fish keeping in Florida is a lot different. There are many fish stores here. I've got at least 10 stores near my house, which is great. There are big selections in each fish store for both freshwater and saltwater. It's a monster fish keeper's dream here in Florida because Pacu, let's see what happened there. Because Pacu, red-tail cats, tiger shovenos, and other amazing fish like that are frequently available. And they're expensive though, but the fish are very quality here. I haven't had any problems with the fish that I purchased here in Florida. And there are some nice fish keepers here in Florida, like my good friend Darrell and a couple other fish keepers that I am friends with. They're very helpful as well. They give me advice when I need it, and they help answer any questions that I have. So what more could you ask for? Now, the Florida tap water, or at least the Lake Worth tap water, not very good, but we'll address that later on in the show. All right, so this is Ask Aqua Alex after all. If you have any fish keeping questions, please go ahead and post them in the comments and I will answer your questions. So while I wait for some questions to come in, we are going to go ahead and take a quick intermission. And this intermission is being brought to you by Little Egypt Aquarium Club and Fish Keeping for Kids. Remember, you can save 10% off your order at Little Egypt Aquarium Club by using coupon code ALEX. We'll be right back after a word from our supporters. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Are you a tropical fish keeper living in South Florida? You need to check out Aquatic and Exotic in Stuart, Are you a tropical fish keeper living in South Florida? You need to check out Aquatic and Exotic and
Sorry about that. It appears we're having some technical issues. But now let's get to our intermission, and we'll be right back after a word from our support.
Are you a tropical fish keeper living in South Florida? You need to check out Aquatic and Exotic in Stuart, Florida. Aquatic and Exotic is home to quality freshwater and saltwater tropical fish. You will find African cichlids, South and Central American cichlids, goldfish and koi, and exotic fish. We also supply aquarium supplies like filters and heaters, aquariums, and lights. We also have quality fish food brands. Aquatic and Exotic is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Questions? Give us a call at 772-781-4046. Stop on by and check us out. 1525 A.C.E. Lockhart Street, Stuart, Florida 34994.
All right, sorry about that. We're having some technical issues, but we're back now. We're ready to take our intermission. The show will continue right after this, folks.
Are you a tropical fish keeper living in South Florida? You need to check out Aquatic and Exotic in Stuart, Florida. Aquatic and Exotic is home to quality freshwater and saltwater tropical fish. You will find African cichlids, South and Central American cichlids, goldfish and koi, and exotic fish. We also supply aquarium supplies like filters and heaters, aquariums, and lights. We also have quality fish food brands. Aquatic and Exotic is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Questions? Give us a call at 772-781-4046. Stop on by and check us out. 1525 A.C.E. Lockhart Street, Stuart, Florida 34994.
Hey everyone, Aqua Alex Cardinale here. As you guys know, I entered the aquarium hobby at a young age. I was born into the aquarium hobby as my dad had been keeping aquariums before me. And at the age of 12, I got my very first aquarium. I am a firm believer that kids and today's youth should be in the aquarium hobby. That is why when I found out about this book, Fish Keeping for Kids, I knew I had to promote it here on my channel because I'm all about the youth in the aquarium hobby. This book here was written by a 14-year-old boy who entered the aquarium hobby. And this book is filled with some great information. It's got information on all different types of fish, freshwater and saltwater. It's got information on aquarium equipment. It's got information on cycling and setting up an aquarium. All information that will be beneficial and great for kids entering the aquarium hobby. I wish I had this book when I was younger and growing up in the aquarium hobby. So, this book is great for anyone that is going to be entering the aquarium hobby that is younger. It was written by 14-year-old Brian Conway, who enjoys fish keeping, soccer, homeschooling, and fishing. And one of his favorite places to be is the local aquarium store and Oklahoma Aquarium. Fish Keeping for Kids started as a homeschool assignment, and Brian decided he would publish it to help solve this problem for others. Fish Keeping for Kids is Brian's first book, but he enjoyed writing the first so much he is already working on his next. You can find out more information and follow Brian at fishkeepingforkids.com. Take a look at this wonderful book with all the different fish species and information in there. It's a great, great book. I'm happy to have a copy, and I'm happy to support this cause as well. Fishkeepingforkids.com. Learn all about it on his website and get yourself a copy. I love seeing the youth in the aquarium hobby, and I, Aqua Alex, am glad to partner with Brian. Now back to the fish chat. Hey fish keepers, Aqua Alex Cardinale here. Proud to announce that I am partnering with Little Egypt Aquarium Club, founded by tropical fish keeper Jeremy Stellhorn from Red Bud, Illinois. Little Egypt Aquarium Club supplies aquarium hobbyists all across the United States with quality aquarium supplies. At Little Egypt Aquarium Club, you will find Rapashi, a really good fish food. You'll also find freeze-dried foods, medicated foods, pellets and wafers for your fish, breeding supplies, driftwood, filters, and so much more. Little Egypt Aquarium Club is operated by fish keepers such as Aqua Alex and Jeremy Stellhorn for fish keepers like yourself. You'll get free shipping on orders over $200. And don't forget, you can save money with Aqua Alex. You'll get 10% off your order by using coupon code ALEX. That's right, fish keepers. Bruno, my tiger Oscar behind me, and Aqua Alex want to save you 10%. Use coupon code ALEX to get 10% off your order. Go to littleegyptaquariumclub.com after the show. Happy fish keeping, and go check out Little Egypt Aquarium Club after the show. Welcome back to Ask Aqua Alex Live, April 2023. That was the very first time that I had tech issues during an intermission. But hey, it's live broadcast, so it's bound to happen. Anyway, we're having a great time so far. And if you're just tuning in and you have fish keeping questions, go ahead and post them in the comments, and I will answer them during the show. Also, here are the questions that I'm asking you, the fish keepers. What is one fish species that has eluded you since you've been in the aquarium hobby? What is the favorite thing about your aquariums? And what is the last fish you purchased? Post your answers in the comments down below. So I decided that I'm going to save a couple of tonight's topics for next month's show, because we're kind of running a little bit out of time here. But next month on the May 2023 Fish Keepers Q&A, I'm going to talk about fish species that are harmful to humans. And I'm going to address what I was going to address tonight, but we'll save that for May 2023. Right now, it's time for the Fish Keepers Showoff. And my friend Darrell has some beautiful fish that he's going to show off right here, right now on Ask Aqua Alex Live. First, we're going to see his monster aquarium that has a silver arowana, a beautiful fire red Oscar, some beautiful red hooks, vulture cats, red tail cat, and an ornate biker. Enjoy the video, guys. As you can see, a very beautiful large silver arowana after eating. All right, so now we'll see a quick video of his outdoor pond. Awesome. As always, my friend Darrell has some beautiful fish and some beautiful aquariums. All right, so that's pretty much everything for tonight's show, unless some questions come in. I would like to say thank you to everyone that tuned in live, and I apologize for the tech issues during our intermission that happens sometimes on live streams. The next Q&A is going to be probably May 15th or May 16th. And one of the topics is going to be fish that can harm humans and my address. I can't wait for that. But I do have some special fish keeping videos coming up before then. This Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, it'll be the 25th episode of Life in the Amazon. so somewhat of a small celebration. And to celebrate 25 episodes of Life in the Amazon, I decided to talk about my favorite genus of fish from the Amazon, and that is the Sarasomidide family. So I'll be talking about piranha, pacu, and silver dollars. So learn about the different species of these fish and their unique dentation and teeth. And then next Tuesday here on my YouTube channel, American Alice Cardinale, a new fish keeping show is debuting. And it's called Alex and Jeremy Talk Fish. An OBS unscripted fish keeping talk show that's going to air once a month. And it debuts next Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on my YouTube channel, American Alex Cardinale. So, fish keepers, thank you for watching this episode. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on the next fish keeping video that I do. Enjoy the aquarium hobby, do those water changes, and have fun. Good night, everybody.